and gentlemen, welcome to my show. I've been waiting for this moment for a long time. I like to introduce a dear friend of mine that I've known for just about 15 to 20, I want to say about 20 years now. He is a Hollywood icon. He has been a successful screenwriter. He's been a successful producer and an actor. He started his movie career in 1965. That's when he actually got started. And he has a record. He has a record. He is one well-established individual. Ladies and gentlemen, please let me introduce Bo Svenson.
When you say I have a record, Dimas, when you say I have a record, I do not have a record.
My friend, you have a great record and a reputation. How are you, Bo?
I'm good, man. As a matter of fact, my life has never been better. I'm most grateful. Number one, I'm grateful to be living in our magnificent country that is being taken apart, unfortunately. But that is the way of Washington. So,
touche, my friend. And just for our audience, you are a Marine, a retired Marine.
Right. I'm a former U.S. Marine. Right.
Correct. Former U.S. Marine, retired. You did serve this country, and we thank you for your service, my friend.
Thank you.
Bo, do me a favor. Tell me a little bit about yourself. What you are originally from Sweden.
Correct.
You came here. You grew up in the U.S. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me how you got into the movie industry.
Well, hold on a second. I think that's the office cat.
Yeah.
This is my office. That's the office cat. First off, I don't feel that I ever grew up. I arrived in the U.S. when I was 17. I emigrated by myself. I arrived with $49, and it's been downhill ever since. I spent a little over 6 years in the Marine Corps. And little did I know at any one point that I would end up in Hollywood, because I always felt that that was sort of shishi, actors and all that stuff. However, I met some real manly men in Hollywood, so there you go. Right. Right. So that's pretty much it. I was pursuing a PhD in metaphysics and paying the rent with acting jobs. I mean, small acting jobs. And then one day I was hired to replace Paul Newman in a film with Redford. And so the rest is Hollywood history.
And you played in many movies along the line. You produced and wrote few scripts yourself, correct?
Yeah. Right. Yes. It is true.
It is true.
Right now we are. I feel very fortunate. I found a guy in Saudi Arabia, a fabulous guy, really, really fine guy. He was a TV personality in Saudi Arabia. And one of the films that I have written depicts the arrival in North America by a group of Norse led by a devout Muslim. 500 years before Columbus, and a group of people fleeing religious persecution in what is today Norway. So I found this guy, man. He is fabulous. I'm so thrilled because, there are 2 billion, with a B, Muslims in the world. And I am quite certain that amongst these 2 billion Muslims, there are some really nice people. Unfortunately, they are oftentimes depicted that brushed with the same stroke or whatever the expression is. We
Extremists, terrorists, all that stuff.
ISIS, Al Qaeda, and now we got the assholes, the Taliban.
Yeah.
So, however, there are really, really fine people amongst the Muslims of the world, just as there are some really fine people among the Catholics of the world or the Protestants and what have you. So this film, by the way, the screenplay was selected by the Cannes Film Festival this summer. It has won all kinds of awards. It won film festivals, the New York Film Festival, Toronto, Montreal, Los Angeles, Rome, and what have you. So I don't know how it happened, but the screenplay turned out pretty good.
That's amazing.
We have another picture called Khalid, A Champion for All. It's sort of a Bruce Lee, Jean-Claude Van Damme, that kind of a story, martial arts story. However, it is headlining an Arab. And again, because I feel it's important that we have parity in this world. So we already have the other action screen stars, and I feel it's about time let's open the field for others.
Yeah. That's I think we talked about that last time I saw you when I was in California. I came to your house and you were talking. It was like in the beginning phases of the project, and you mentioned the project, and I'm glad it's moving forward. This is great. This is amazing. Bo, let me ask you a question. As you were growing up here, as you were introduced into the Hollywood scene, as they say,
well,
what was your take?
I was in New York and ended up. I was paying the rent with these acting gigs, and then somehow, and my wife and I, we ended up in California on a TV series, and while on that series, Here Come the Brides. Guest starred on other shows and somehow was noticed. And Newman and Redford had done a couple of films already. They'd done Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid and The Sting. So when George Hill directing, and so when George told, I think Lou Wasserman at Universal that he was going to do another Redford Newman picture, then allegedly Wasserman has said, "Is that all you're going to do? Newman Redford films." There's something clinging on your end, man.
Yeah, it's my computer's notification. It's very annoying. Sorry. Let me close this up.
Well, it doesn't bother me any. Anyhow, so I got cast in that movie, and I suppose that turned out fine. And then, so I've been allowed to make a living in Hollywood. But I'm a bit more ambitious. I don't find it, being given the words written by others and a mark where to stand and in which direction to face and then say these words. Wasn't really all that interesting, satisfying for me. So writing has always been close to my heart. And so I wrote a novel a few years ago that somehow ended up on Amazon's list of preferred reads. And so then of course, the Walking Tall movies and the series, and working with Tarantino a couple of times. It's all great, man. But more importantly than anything is that I have the opportunity. At first, I had the opportunity to come here uh,
Yes.
to America, and then to be here, man. And
So on that topic, let me ask you a question. Do you think coming to America, is it a right or is it a privilege to come here?
oh, it's a privilege. Oh, it's a privilege. And to live here is a privilege.
Of course.
Oh yeah, that's why it pisses me off.
And
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 if I may finish,
yes,
it
absolutely.
pisses me off to no end to see people tear the fabric of America. And we have all these self-appointed constitutional experts claiming this. They have the right to do this and the right to do that because they feel the Constitution doesn't apply to them or whatever. And you know, it like you've served overseas, and you served in the Middle East, and I too have served here and there, and I have been here and there. And what's far too few Americans understand is that to be an American, to live in America, man, it is a privilege. We should be so grateful, but many of us aren't. Many of us find reason to complain about this or complain about that, and oh, let's fix this. And oftentimes, fix what? Fix that which does not need fixing just because some selfish individual has a beef with whatever it may be in order to raise himself above the crowd. It concerns me greatly.
So so is it safe to say that throughout your entire livelihood, you created privileges for yourself and your family by working tirelessly to get where you are?
Well, no, I don't think any of us create privileges, and I don't feel that I ever worked tirelessly. I did the best much of the time with what I knew, with who I was at the time. It was only recently that I finally became the person I would have liked to have been years ago. And it looked for him out there, not realizing that he who I was looking for was within me all that time. And I was too dumb to understand where I was. And I do believe that that life lesson applies to many. We look for things out there, we blame things out there, and consequently, many of us we find excuses to become alcoholics or druggies or wife beaters or whatever.
Right.
And yeah, so it's really a shame, I feel, that we don't have that we don't teach real life lessons in high school, for instance. And the reason for that, of course, is there are political groups that says, well, you can't teach that because that then our youth may get a skewed opinion about something. In other words, they may learn something.
Or their feelings get hurt.
Right. Or you cannot teach today's kids stuff that demeans whatever gruesome political view I may have. So, yeah.
So I don't know if you've been following the news or not, as far as like you mentioned school, because I've been at our school board meetings few times and screaming and yelling at the school board members because they're trying to create this propaganda ideology in the school system to just push that agenda versus just teaching the kids the curriculums, science, math, history, all this stuff. The kids now are so distracted with so many different things, electronics, TV, phones, iPads, all this stuff. And when they go to school, they got to be distracted with more nonsense material, and they're
And
coming
your
out
point
dumber than they go in.
your point is what?
My point is, I think politics or ideology should be kept out of school
Well,
entirely.
that's wishful thinking. It's
That is
impossible.
wishful thinking. Yes.
I mean, hey, man, by definition, politics is for what? The many. So, so by definition, politics involves everyone. And because it's a free country, everyone is allowed to participate. Some of us shouldn't be
Yeah.
participating, but that's a topic of exclusion that no doubt will Mitch McConnell come up with a way to exclude even more people from the political process.
I can't stand Mitch McConnell. Honestly, I can't stand him. I can't stand 99.9% of the politicians. That's my stance on that.
So then this blog is aimed at, how many stars are in the flag behind you? Do you know?
50.
Huh?
50.
Really?
Yes, sir.
It looks like, well, whatever. You said it. So good. Moving
on. So if I want you to tell me, what would you advise somebody who's seeking to become an actor or an actress or entry level into the Hollywood scene? They're 100% amateur. They don't know what to do. They don't know who to talk to. What was your first step to get into that field? And what would you recommend, or what would you say to somebody that wants to get into it?
Well, given that I am not God, I don't recommend things for anyone or suggest things for anyone. I do believe every one of us, we should follow our instinct. The highest and the purest form of knowledge is our instinct. When we follow our instinct, we often survive. Animals, this is how they get as far in life as they can under the most difficult conditions. Oftentimes they follow instinct. So I do feel that it's very important that people who seek themselves into the arts, I believe that they do so seeking the validation from others who they are. In other words, why did I become whatever, an actor or whatever? Well, because I wanted for others to validate me as the person I knew myself to be. So oftentimes we are flawed beings in search of validation at a time when we don't deserve it. However, when we do get the validation, somehow we are healed. So, I mean, why is it that painters and writers and actors and other artists oftentimes are so screwed up and are alcoholics or druggies or whatever? Well, because they are artificially trying to get the feel good that really only comes from when we are validated as the persons we truly are. Then, because that resonates, then bingo, wow, yes, whoa. So away goes the need for that artificial crutch, be it then whatever, whether it's whatever, right? Am I boring you?
No. This is good stuff.
I just want to make sure. So there you have it. Yeah.
So do you think those people who don't get that? So you think those people who don't get the validation? Do you think that's what's breaking them? That's what getting them depressed and falling and they fall off the wheel and they get addicted to drugs and alcohol. Is that
Absolutely. Oh yeah, absolutely. When we don't feel appreciated,
Mhm.
man, then who, why am I not appreciated? What am I, an asshole? What's wrong with me? Therefore, so
I am an asshole. I know that.
oh, I perhaps was one. I am less of one now. But more important, Tim, is more importantly is that yeah, Hollywood is an artificial way of finding that validation, because the validation must come from within, not from without.
Correct.
It's a false validation, man, because um, just because you star in a movie, does that make you a better person uh, or more worthwhile, more important? You know, and there's an inequity here in that you can be the finest mechanic in the world, or the finest baker, or the finest whatever. People don't ask for your autograph, but when you are in a movie or on television, people will ask for your autograph. Why? Well, they want some of that to rub off on them. But it's false, man. It's artificial. And a little story. When we were shooting Great Walter Pepper in Texas, we're filming New Brownsville, Texas, on a most magnificent farm. I don't know, the guy had cows and what have you. I guess it would be a farm. Huge place, a barn. It was a 3-story barn, man.
Wow.
And the whole thing belonged to this guy, big, strong guy. He looked like Louis Kelcher of the San Diego Chargers. The guy must have weighed 380, maybe. Big, strong guy. He built it. He had come from Germany as an immigrant when he was, I think he came when he late teens. Built this enormous, and his daughter was there. And so we're all having lunch at a long ass table, and Newman was sitting here. Newman had come to visit Redford and George Roy Hill because they had done a couple of films together, right? So Newman is sitting there, I'm here, and right across from me was the big farmer's daughter, and Redford was there. And so the daughter asked Newman for his autograph, and he said, Newman, he looked at her and said, have you asked your father for his autograph? And she said, no, I mean, he's just and Newman stopped her and said, look around, look what your father has accomplished. He came here with very little money, and look what he has accomplished. Not only in these buildings and what have you, but you are his daughter. So why would you ask me for my autograph when your father is far more accomplished? And I, at the time, I was just another dumbass. But what Newman said resonated very well with me. And gave me a lesson. So when people ask me for my autograph, I have a dilemma. I don't want to give my autograph, first off, because I don't feel that I'm accomplished, but I also really, and people have put me straight on this. I said, well, you know, I find it kind of demeaning to them. They ask me for my, why, what in the world made them feel that I am so much more worthwhile than they are? And there's an inequity here that doesn't work for me. So for the longest time, I would say, you know, I'm no different, and I would explain why it made me. And then someone said, you know, Bo, come on. Give them the damn autograph. It makes them feel better. you don't have to do a master's thesis on inequity or self-esteem. And I said, okay, fine. So then I said, okay, fine. So people ask me for my autograph. Yeah, I give it, but I am not a fool. I don't take it as a compliment, really.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I don't make a big deal of it.
Right. I mean, in normal cases, I would say you are one normal individual who I've known for many years, and I don't think I ever asked you for your autograph, Bo.
No. Hey, man, come on. There's nothing normal about me. What is normal?
I mean, I can tell you what normal is. I mean,
sorry, man. There is something normal about me. I put my pants on one leg at a time.
Right.
Right. So there are some normal things about me. However, none of us are normal. We are all unique. Yes. And it is our uniqueness that is so special. And it is when we hail our uniqueness, when I pay real attention to fellow man because he is different than I am, he has, in other words, something to offer me. So when we view mankind like that, the more different someone is, oh my goodness, the more worthy that person is of my attention, because I can actually learn something. Why in the world do I want to hang out with people who are like me?
That's very
boring. And so, you know, and this whole thing, man, this thing about racism and what have you, it goes back to childhood.
Right.
When we grew up, whether it was 6, 7, whatever, our street was better than their street. Our junior high was better than their junior high. Our high was better. And then college, university. Our family, even more basic. Our family is better than their family. So we start this crap early in life that something is better than the other because they are different than us.
Do you think that's by design?
You know, I don't know that it is by design, but it certainly is dogma. Mm-hmm. Absolute dogma, where things are grouped, and when the group is closer to us, it is better than any group out there. And it is, in my opinion, so counterproductive. We can't use the word right or wrong. I can't say it's wrong because, hey, man, what's wrong in Tehran could be right here and vice versa. So what's right or wrong? Right.
Is it because we create a perception for ourselves? Is that do you think it's because we create a perception of ourselves like I'm better than somebody else because of what I've done, what I've accomplished, or what we've done as a group and what we have accomplished? So that makes us better than the other group. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, but it's not something that we do. It is something that is put on us. The thing about us and we comes from the leaders of our group, whether it is our family leaders, the religious leaders, whatever it is, leaders put, come on, Kat, get off my keyboard. I mean, right. We are not encouraged to look within. We're not really encouraged to look for the feel good within us. if you take social media today, or you take, or even television, um, social media and television, they make money on controversy. So they create controversy where there really should be none, negativity, conflict where there really ought not be any.
It's
So,
all bad news. That's all they show is bad news.
well, controversy,
Correct.
conflict
Correct.
in what is what they create, because that empowers them. And in the case of Facebook, for instance, asshole is making gazillion dollars based on conflict and misinformation and what have you. And it's ugly. And right. Here comes the kitty. Hello, kitty.
No, I totally agree with you, Bo. I mean, it's a destruction of the destruction of communities, destruction of people who are trying to be better for themselves, but they get sucked into this tunnel of, because right now we're in the social media environment, so everybody is turned into Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, so on and so forth, and that's where they're trying to get their validation of they actually are somebody, or they that feel good that you mentioned, but it's all fictitious. It's not real. They're all looking for that falsehood feel good.
No, I don't know that. Hey, man, I don't know that we are looking for falsehoods. No, we are looking for that which we can embrace with great passion. And oftentimes, what we end up embracing are falsehoods, because the falsehoods have been laid down on us as truths.
Yes.
I mean, it is, the election was stolen or whatever. And that fuels many people because they don't have enough going on within them. And it's easier to stir people with negative stuff than with positive stuff. You know, people out demonstrating for women's rights or whatever seldom get as vociferous, as angry as other groups. Anyhow, I don't know that your audience really want to hear this stuff.
Oh, my audience likes to hear anything, man. I don't focus just on a single topic. I like to keep it as broad as possible.
We certainly have done that.
Well, before we wrap this up, what book would you recommend for people to read?
I don't.
You don't recommend any book?
Like I said, man, I am not God. I have no right. No, I don't feel like recommending this or recommending that, because, hey, man, you know, just like I became who I am by listening to my inner voice, and for many years my inner voice was not very constructive, but I've always been true to myself, for better or worse, and I do believe that to be important. Be true to yourself. So yeah, man, I don't tell people what to do, what to read. I not even my own kids. No, I don't. Who am I to impose my values on them? Let me see here. Oh,
so I know you have to go, Bo. Thank you so much for coming on to my show and talking to me. I would love to have you back on again and again as much as I can, because I value your thoughts and your opinion. And only reason is you don't have a filter, Bo. You do not have a filter, and I love it, because you would say whatever that's on your mind, and you are as you said, you're true to yourself, because that's why the way you speak, it's not coming from a script. It's coming from you directly.
Yeah.
And that's how I am. I don't like to filter myself. I like to say what's on my mind. If you don't like it, oh well, it's not my fault. It's not my problem. It is what it is.
Hey, Dimis, send me a link so that my people can. I'm not going to look at what we just did. Send me a link of this so my people, my team, and I have really wonderful people who help make me whatever I am. Thanks.
Absolutely. I will do that. Bo, thank you so much for doing this. Man. I appreciate you being on my show, and I will chat with you later.
Okay, man.